Matt Taibbi had a piece in the Rolling Stone, which I agreed with a lot of it, and I disagree with a bit of it. And some of it I just couldn't determine, frankly. But his broader point that there is a history of the bipartisan and corporate and intelligence service utter destruction of whistleblowers, whether we're talking about Thomas Drake or Edward Snowden or Chelsea Manning, people who have come forward and revealed the structural wrongdoing of the NSA, of the Pentagon, the CIA. John Kurikow is an example, whether we're talking about the torture program, whether we're talking about killing civilians overseas, whether we're talking about a mass global spying and surveillance program. These people have had their lives destroyed. And he also points to people, in Wall Street as well. Now, and he has a problem with the framing of the person who has revealed what's going on with Trump, which is, clearly part of a political operation as a whistleblower. Now, fair criticism. I still support impeaching Trump, and I still support bringing everything you can against Trump, even as I entirely agree with that criticism. And I actually think that there needs to be an infinitely more serious discourse on the left of how you balance removing Trump or politically muscling up against Trump with not empowering the intelligence complex. I'm sorry, that is actually a serious issue.
Yeah, the national security Democrats are not going away.
And they're empowering a vast apparatus of institutions which are fundamentally antithetical to a democratic way of life. And there's a discourse that does not take that seriously. Now, you could argue maybe there's another discourse that doesn't take Trump seriously. We need to synthesize both of these things. And Trump's announcement yesterday that the White House is simply not going to cooperate with an impeachment inquiry is precisely the type of thing. I understood what Brad Miller was saying about some of the dangers in the interview, but I don't see any other way than besides what Sam is saying.
I don't know. I think it seems fine.
Right. People need to be held in contempt of Congress. People need to be, all of these things have to be acted upon simultaneously. And what the Trump White House is asserting with Bill Barr is in fact, and you can check the record, I don't throw this language around, it is dictatorial. It is an objectively dictatorial action that synchronizes, and Fox News clips, whatever, in my opinion. In a lot of senses, especially in this sophisticated audience, we know what Fox is. But this really did stand out to me. And it's regular for Fox, but check this out. This is Joe DeGenova, who I believe is a former prosecutor or certainly an attorney. Check out what he's saying, and by the way, saying the craziest things in a clip with Rudy Giuliani and Laura Ingraham. That says quite a bit.
Joe DeGenova, the House's failure to provide, this from Cipollone's letter, provide co-equal subpoena power in this case ensures that any inquiry will be nothing more than a one-sided effort by House Democrats to gather information favorable to their views and to selectively release it only as they determine. You warned about this. The drip, drip, drip of the leaks coming out of the Democrat offices. They're conspiring with, of course, the whistleblower. We'll get into that in a moment. But what about this?
Well, what you're seeing is regicide. This is regicide by another name, fake impeachment. The Democrats in the House want to destroy the president. They don't want to preserve the republic. There's nothing honorable about what is happening. This is a despicable abuse of constitutional power. If they had on the floor a vote to establish an impeachment inquiry, that would give the Republicans subpoena power. But the Democrats aren't doing that. They want to deny them subpoena power. So what do we get? We get first one anonymous informant, then a second anonymous informant.
Sorry,
I refuse to call.
I have to pull a Sam here. No, we don't just have that. We have transcripts showing what precisely the case is. Now, you can argue whether you want to take it seriously or not, but this is not something based off of the conjecture based off of informants. These are literal transcripts. And by the way, this is what they're moving on. If I had my druthers, I think the report that Donald Trump was telling people at the border, pushing for border policies to shoot people in the legs and put alligators in moats, that would be we better impeach this guy right now.
It seems like a worse crime to me.
He's indicting, children are dying as a result of this policy. People are being kidnapped. I mean, there's any number of things. But this is the move they're going off of. And part of the reason this is the move they're going off of is because it's in writing. So that's fundamentally disingenuous and dishonest, obviously.
Then a second anonymous informant, I refuse to call them whistleblowers. These two non-entities are suicide bombers that the Democrats have unleashed on the democratic process. They actually think that the American people are going to accept having people testify secretly without anyone knowing who they are, where they worked, what their party affiliation was, who they conspired with. It's pretty obvious that this first suicide bomber who sent that complaint to the Inspector General was a paid Democratic operative of the Democratic Party.
You mean political suicide bomber, obviously,
yes.
Before we start getting people messages. He really...
No, I mean, look, yeah, she did a little cleanup there. That's incitement language, no doubt. I don't see how you could argue otherwise. It's really, obviously, in my view, incitement language.
Really evocative imagery there.
But none of this stuff matters. I mean, look, and here's my other point from a political perspective. Yes, is that if you take the high-end Taibbi point, that this is not a whistleblower in the sense of somebody like Curacao or somebody who's exposed systemic wrongdoing in an intelligence or military apparatus and then been gutted as a result. That these are people that are on the side of a particular part of a turf war, and that needs to be recognized as such. Fine. If a Democratic president did this, the Republicans would be trying to send them to Guantanamo Bay, let alone impeaching them. And that's another part here, the idea that this endless double standard that Republicans can do absolutely anything and then, oh, no, don't do that. Don't impeach. Look, we need to walk and chew gum at the same time. Huge problems inside the intelligence, military, and democratic apparatus. Also, at the same time, he's making, I mean, I accept a point that Taibbi's making, but we have no idea. These people could absolutely be people who were appalled and mortified by what they saw. And in this case, have institutional backing because there is division. That's fine. That's politics. All of these things can be true at once. In fact, they are true at once. And we need to move aggressively on this guy.
I'm heartened to hear that the Democrats aren't giving Republicans co-equal subpoena power, even though they don't share co-equal power over the House.
Right.
Good.
Right.
Fuck them.
Are you
Sorry
crazy?
for saying that again. But yeah.
No, I mean, that's insane.
You get nothing.
Republicans, when they ran the House, the Democrats had to do hearings in dingy rooms. Like, you should have read about the stuff they did to not only limit Democrats' power, but to just systemically humiliate them. I mean, it's insane.
If any Democrat that gives Republicans any kind of power that they aren't explicitly given by the rules, and frankly, even then, like, it should be voted out of office or primary.
Period. Full stop.
People are vampires.
This is, I mean, and this to me, look, this is the convergence between a hard left perspective that's highly critical of the Democratic Party that still recognizes that there's political warfare that is taking place against a absolutely grotesque administration that is ushering in the complete collapse. Yes, it was already happening. If you read Achille Mbembe, The Age of Humanism is Ending, that was during 2016. And he was talking about the neoliberal policy set, but he was also projecting into the future the Trumps, the Bolsonaros, and so on. And that has to be responded to all simultaneously. Bernie Sanders is quite clear about that, by the way.